That's my cue.
Hey bestie, it's Kati Wasserman. I am a mom, an esthetician, the owner of Flagstaff Skincare Med Spa, and Prickly Bear Skincare, a post-hair removal line. I started Beauty Talk Confessions because honestly, I got tired of how fake the beauty industry can feel. The conversations that happen between wax strips, peels, and facials that no one ever talks about publicly, we are gonna go there. So grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's peel back the layers, one confession at a time. Welcome to Beauty Talk Confessions, where the secrets come out and the glow gets real. Welcome back to Beauty Talk Confessions. I'm Kati Wasserman, and I'm so excited for this episode because I feel like there is a huge disconnect in our industry of these steps that it takes to open your own business. And when you are in school, there is all of this emphasis about going out, starting, and either working for someone or working for yourself. And the idea of how they put it out there seems a lot easier than the steps. And it is a process, but it is something that with the right support, you can do it. And like myself, you will be able to open up a space and be successful. I have been in business now for coming up on 5 years. I have owned my own medical spa that was a day spa, has transitioned into a medical spa in Northern Arizona for 5 years. I started with my career here in Northern Arizona working for somebody else. And through my late father's injury that caused him to unfortunately pass away in the long run, I saw some things at my last location that initially gave me the courage and the shift to go out on my own. And the location that I was at, they were amazing, you guys. And I was in a position where I thought that I was going to end up buying into this business. I was completely invested. But when I found out that that was not an opportunity for me to slide my foot in the door and become a co-owner with this other woman, I started thinking about other opportunities. I've always known that I wanted to be a business owner. And when I was living in Colorado, prior to moving here to Northern Arizona, I knew that I wanted to open my own business. However, I also knew that I was not going to be staying in Colorado. So I look at it now as my business that I opened in Colorado was almost like a tester run for the business that I've created today. And so in Colorado, I had a permanent makeup business. And you guys, I was the worst business owner you could have ever imagined. I would take like 1 to 2 clients in a month, pay for my overhead, my rent, and I would just go out, and I was feeling glorified and feeling that excitement of being a business owner. Was I a business owner? Yes. Was I making money? No. Was I paying my bills for my business? Yes. But I was definitely taking that umbrella and that hat and really just, I don't know. I was not a business owner. Fast forward, I moved here to Northern Arizona and I started working at another space because I knew that I wanted to open up my own location, but I hadn't built a community here. So I knew in the back of my head, I always wanted to open my space, but that wasn't my end goal. If I could have found someone through this journey that we could have accumulatively created our goals together and come to, come to a foundation where together we could then grow a business, I would have done that. But that wasn't for me. So I moved here to Northern Arizona and I worked for another spa, and I brought waxing into that location and it grew like crazy, you guys. I created their waxing program. I was in charge of ordering waxing supplies. Basically, I was running my own business, but I was umbrellaed and working under somebody else and getting paid very minimum for what I was doing. So fast forward, I was there for about 1.5 years and they decided to purchase a laser. And I was told at that point that I should decide if I want to advance my career. And if so, they advised me to go to laser school so that I could do laser certification here in Arizona. And so I went to laser school. They were not willing to pay for it. It was $10,000 out of my own pocket. I ended up leaving laser school. It was a 2-week program, coming back and working for them. And they wanted me to train for their laser. You guys, literally be their trainer after 2 weeks of laser school. And if anybody's been to laser school, you know, or have their laser license, you know, during school, you're only learning foundation. You're not an expert. You're not somebody that should be training. So that was a red flag for me. I not only was supposed to be the trainer for them, I was being told at this time that laser was going to be the best choice for me to shift my career, that I should think about getting rid of waxing because that was the direction that this business was going. They decided once they got their laser, waxing was not in their bread and butter for their services. And when I say waxing, I mean any waxing services that were not facial waxing services. They still offer facial waxing services and they still are in business and they are a successful business. And I wish them the best of luck, but they were just not for me. And they were not for me. However, they were the driving force for me to try again and open this business and actually do it the right way. So at the time I was working for this business and I was also working at a bar here in Northern Arizona trying to make ends meet. And during that time, January 1st, my dad had his accident and I had no idea what was going to happen. With my siblings, we were trying to decide and figure out were we going to need to move to where my parents were, which was in Florida. Prior to this accident, they had just sold the house that I grew up in and completely downsized and had just relocated to Florida, and we're going to spend time 50-50 in Florida. And so it was just a few days after moving to Florida, my dad's accident happened. And I remember getting a call on January 1st from my mom telling me that my dad was paralyzed from the neck down and things were okay, but that we were going to kind of keep an eye on it and she would keep us posted. A few weeks later, my brother, he went out to Florida and called me and our other sibling who lives here in Northern Arizona and told us that we had to come and see my dad, and things were a lot worse than what my mom was voicing. So during this time, I'm working at this bar, you guys, and I expressed to the owners at the bar that this is going on. I have to go and be with my family. And the owners of this bar, they were amazing. They're like, go do whatever you need. We will support you. We will be here for you. When you come back, you do have a job here. So just let us know. Now, let's flip this to the spa that I worked at. Now, the spa that I worked at, they were on their own, literally just taking off. They had just purchased a laser. They were advancing in their services. They were trying to build their business. And so I respect that as a business owner. However, there's some things that during that time was not easy for me to deal with, and I did not feel supported through what I was going through. So my dad had this accident, and we, like I said, we're trying to figure out what we can do. I have to go and visit him. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. And I bring this to, I had a meeting. My manager called me and told me that they wanted me to come into a meeting. And at this location, you guys, this manager was actually the owner's father. It was more of a business, family-owned business. And so I was at this meeting with the dad of the girl who owns this business. And during this meeting, I remember he sat there and asked me, he first off apologized and said, I'm so sorry to hear about your dad. But he asked me, this is going to be a lot for you to handle. Are you going to be able to train people and not have this come into your work? And honestly, I told him, I don't know. Like, I don't know what is coming tomorrow. I don't know. And I am going to do the best that I can. But this is my life and this is what I have to do. And it was an interesting conversation. And looking back in my career, it was one that was very emphasizing and really stood out for me of something that I will always support people through family dynamics and issues, and things come up, life happens. And as a business owner, I understand that and I want to support and be supportive for people, because through that process, I felt intimidated. I didn't feel supported. I didn't feel like I could just go and be with my family and do what I needed to do. I was concerned about my clients, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, family comes first. So first start of me thinking about opening my own business was the fact that they were going to get rid of waxing. Second was this intimidating conversation. Now I will tell you the third, which was the final straw. And for me, it was the universe just really showing up that this is what I needed to do, emphasize that this is my path. And so I decided to go to Florida to go spend some time with my dad. And it was hard, you guys. It was bad. My dad was in hospice when I saw him. He was completely paralyzed from the neck down with zero movement. And he was struggling to communicate because with his accident, he did have to go on a breathing tube. So he's struggling to communicate. And so I did go and visit my dad. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But it's something that I am so thankful of. And I'm so thankful of those talks that I had with my dad and to be able to tell him about opening my own business and having that encouragement from somebody that really believes in me is really what I needed during this transition. And I went and visited my dad. And while I was visiting my dad, there was some weird stuff going on from my last location. They were sharing some personal information about the situation that they probably shouldn't have. They were not being the most supportive. I felt like I was being bullied a little bit. And so that was something that was a little bit challenging. But that feeling of being bullied was the driving force for me to open my own business and for me to transition my own business and be successful. And what now, as I look back and I translate that, is that space really gave me the driving force, and they excite me. When I see them offering a new service, I'm excited. I feel the pressure to show up better and serve my community. If they're doing it, I can do it. So that was the driving force. And I decided while I was in Florida that this is it. I'm opening my own space. When I come back to Arizona, I will eventually leave that location and I will just transition out to my own space. When I started thinking about my own space, I knew that eventually I wanted staff, but that wasn't my first focus. So starting a business, you guys, it is just step after step after step to make sure that you are doing everything legally, to make sure that you have everything set up. And when I opened my business, I found out that there wasn't a structure or a step-by-step that you can follow through to open your business. So I decided to create a document that is for beauty entrepreneurs or people that are in the beauty industry that want to open their own business. And I will be giving the link to that in our show notes below. I have it on Canva and it's something that everyone can access. I have been keeping it up to date as much as I can. So if there is anything on there that you notice that does need to be updated, please just shoot me a message and I'm more than happy to update it. So I wanted to walk you through the process of opening a spa and really what it looked like for me. So really, guys, to open your own location, it really just starts with an idea. And I had that idea. And then with that idea, you need to find a location, you need to find your products, but we'll take you through those steps here in just a moment. So something that I found with the process of having my project business or my baby business in Denver and then opening my business here in Northern Arizona was I really needed to have a strong mission statement. I really needed to be clear on my goal with this business. And anyone that's starting out, you should be clear on your goal. And that can change along the process. It's not a definite goal, but that is something that having your goal in the back of your mind and always coming back to it or having it in a space that you can come back to will redirect you and keep your fire under your ass to ignite you into opening your own space and continuing doing what you're doing, which is your dream. So you want to first have that mission statement, and then you're going to want to create a pretty detailed business plan. In your business plan, you do want to include your financial projections. You want to include your outline for marketing strategy and your professional online presence. That is very important. You want to figure out what website you're going to get. And finding a website, it is ideal that you find a website that is .com or .net, something that doesn't have a hyphen in it. My website does have a hyphen, a dash, and it is extremely annoying when I do have to give my website information to somebody to have to give them that dash. It just doesn't sound the best. So if you can, try to find a website that is your name and just that with no dash. Numbers are also challenging as well, because when you do put numbers in your website, you will have to spell them out. So that's really challenging as well. Your next step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to choose a unique business name. This would actually come before looking for the website, but that is just part of the plans of getting this business plan structured. Then once we figure out our business name, we are going to actually get that name. We're going to look under trademark to see if that name is trademarked. We are going to also search online to see if we can get a domain. As long as all of those are giving you a green, that is a name that you can go ahead and work through. Next step, you are going to be navigating the legal waters. And in this legal waters, you want to make sure that you have secured your name. So once you find out that name is available, you are going to secure that name. And there are a few different areas for you to look up and search for your name. You can go to a corporation's commission's website. You also go to the Secretary of State online. Now, I'm in Arizona. So in Arizona, you will file with the Arizona Corporation Commission. With whatever state you are in, you will file your business name with the Corporation Commission. That will allow anybody to look you up online and to clarify that your business is legit. After that, you are going to apply for a business license and make sure that your tax compliance is up to date. So you are going to apply and look it up through the Department of Revenue. And you also are going to look up the city and county taxes and business licensing, which will be your TPT. You must apply for a TPT license to be able to sell products and services. And at the end of the year, you have everything for your taxes. Another thing that you will need is your federal ID, which is a EIN number. Besides that, you will want to open a business bank account. So wherever you are doing your banking, you will want to sit down with one of the bankers and you will want to talk to them about opening up a business account. On top of all of that, you guys, insurance is going to be so important. So liability insurance, general insurance, property insurance, these are so important. You want to make sure that you are protecting yourself, you are protecting your business, you're protecting your assets. That is going to be so important. And then when you do hire on employees, you as a W-2 employer will have to pay for their insurance, and you will want to make sure that they are insured and there's nothing that they can do underneath your umbrella of working under you that will get in trouble, that will cause you and your business to also get in trouble. So just make sure that you guys are covering every basis. Now, you want to also think about your location, you guys. Location, location, location. So your business, this is your beauty hub. You want to make sure that you are being conscious about your location. With beauty spaces this day and age, people are being creative. You are able, if your state allows, to work in a mobile setting. You're able to work in a storage unit. You are able to work in a shipping container that you've transferred and changed over into a spa. You can work in a storefront or you can work in a business facility. My location that I chose is more of a business location. It is not a storefront. It's very private. We have great parking. That is definitely something to think about, is parking. You want to make sure that you have parking available for your staff, yourself, and your clients. So if you're in a location where you have to pay for parking, you need to consider that and be conscious about that. On top of that, through this process, you are going to have to negotiate. You should negotiate and look at different options for your lease. Now, once you find your location and you have your lease, you are going to start setting up your beauty shop. We have done it. Yay! So you are going to, first off, I recommend apply for a business account on Amazon. This allows you to streamline sales and it allows you to have taxes that are applied for business. It's amazing. And then you will start ordering supplies. So there is some great resources depending on if you are an esthetician that is going in the direction of focusing on waxing. There are some great supplies lists if you are an esthetician that's going in a direction of facials. And so with whatever direction your business is going to be, you will start ordering supplies. For me, my first thing that I ordered, you guys, was this orange couch. So this orange couch is my baby. I love this couch. It is what I purchased for my first location when I was in Florida with my dad in hospice. And I envisioned this couch. It took 9 months literally for this couch to come. I bought it overseas and I did not think that I actually purchased a couch. I was like, yeah, this thing's going to come and it's going to be a Barbie sized couch and whatever. But I designed my location and my views and everything. It was set. Like I had this vision with this orange couch. I was doing it. I was opening up this space. It was eventually going to be a huge location. And mind you guys, okay, so my first location that I got, I was in an office space. And in this office space, I was in a one-room location. I thought it was important for me to have a front desk area, a waiting area, possibly for my clients to come in. And I put a curtain between the front desk and the service room where I was doing my services. And this location was just, it was ridiculous. So my couch, it wouldn't have even fit in this location, which is just so funny because it's perfect where it is now. And I was at that first location for about 4 months and ended up leaving that location and then moving to another location for just a couple months before I found where I'm at right now. And I've been here for almost 5 years, which is crazy. I can't believe it. And my couch fits. It would have never fit in that previous location. But this orange couch, it came 9 months later, and I was sitting here at the spa. And this guy literally rolled it in a burlap sack, you guys. And it just looked like this bean that was on the ground. And it did not have any holes for us to put in the feet. So there's no holes to put the feet in. And so I literally had this big old jelly bean just sitting on the ground, and clients freaking loved it. They were just obsessed right away. They're like, that couch, girl, it's a banging. It is so cute. Where did you get that? And I love it. It's been just my driving force and my vision of what this business is going to look like. And I just love this couch. It's my baby. So back to where I was at. Once you decide the direction that your business is going to go in, you need to start ordering. You need to order stuff, you guys. And there are some things that I feel like you don't need to be spending your money on. And some people in the industry may shoot me for this, but this is what works for me. And so take this with a grain of salt. And if this is something that you feel like works for you, I'm more than happy to give you guys links to the things that I purchased and where I was able to save money. So I offer waxing, facials, laser hair removal. When I opened my space, I offered waxing and facials right away. I knew that I wanted to expand, and I knew that waxing wasn't the only thing for me. So I decided that I wanted an organic skincare line. I purchased an organic skincare line. This line was one that you did have to buy in. So it was $2,000 to open up an account with them and to make your first order. So that was a huge investment. Besides that, I knew I needed my wax. So I needed my wax. I needed my wax pot. I needed my massage table, my chair. I needed my sheets or whatever I was going to be covering the wax table with. You need all of your supplies to do your services: sticks, cotton round, gauze, 4x4s, oil, aesthetic wipes, towels, powder, wax remover, gloves, tweezers. That list, it gets long, you guys, but you can do it for, I say, each room that I've put together, I give myself about $5,000 to $8,000 to set up that room. And I definitely go the more conservative route on the items. Like my wax pot, I get a medium level wax pot. I'm not spending $300 to $500 on these wax pots. I've found with the amount of waxing that I do, my wax pots burn out every few years. And so I don't want to be investing in something that high end for me. Maybe that later on will change. I get your mid-level massage tables. However, I am hoping, and fingers crossed, I'm basically lining myself up, and my goal at the end of 2026 is to have my 3 rooms having electronic beds. And so I find that staffing, people are many different shapes and sizes, and it does become a little bit challenging being on the taller side and having an employee that is a little bit smaller where the bed may not work the best for them. So that is something that I would say, if you can splurge for it and it's in your budget, definitely a hydraulic bed it's a must. So you want to figure out what direction you're going to be going into. You're going to apply for a business account on Amazon, and then you're going to start ordering supplies. Some of the few places that I really like to order supplies from are Spa and Equipment. I love Massage Warehouse, and I like Wax Connection. I think that they are great location, or they are great areas for you to be purchasing online, and they're really fast, and they're also competitive with their prices. When you are looking for a skincare line, I have really used my community. I asked my resources around, I asked what products they liked. I personally wanted to offer something different than anybody in my demographic and my location. And so I did a ton of research in the area to see what other products people were offering. I wanted to be competitive, but I didn't want to step on anybody else's toes or have a conflict of interest by buying the products that they had. So I was very clear with the direction I wanted to go. I wanted something that was more organic, more natural, hopefully could be a product that we could use for pregnancy, safe clients, people that are going through treatments. Was really my focus and my goal when I was looking for the company that I wanted to carry for my facials and my products. So once you guys start ordering, you are going to want to be a part of a network and stay informed. So networking is what I just said. It's how I have felt confident enough in buying a new machine. I have felt comfortable in taking a step in a different direction. Collaborating with others in our industry who are killing it and looking up to them and seeing what they are doing and how you could possibly mold that into your career and create something similar or different from it is important. I really feel that being a part of a relevant Facebook group to connect with other like-minded professionals in the beauty industry is very, very important. I feel like being a part of a networking group with other business owners and empowering each other versus feeling intimidated is so important in our industry. All right, you guys, so that is really how you're going to start your business. In my step-by-step document, I also have included some really amazing resources for some great Facebook groups that I found, some information that has helped me with opening my own business. I also added in some resources for anyone that is looking for suppliers for eyelash extensions, lash lifts and tints, brow lamination. I've also included brow and lash tints, waxing, spray tans, and facial imaging scanners, LED devices, microneedling, and chemical peels. So I will be sharing that in the show notes below. And if any of you are thinking about opening your own business or you have any questions, feel free to message me and I'm more than happy to answer any of your questions. And if I can't answer them, I will definitely connect you with somebody that can. Well, good luck opening your own business. I can't wait to see you guys all do it. For anyone that's been thinking about opening their own business, this is your year. You should do it. I believe in you and you got it. Thank you so much for being a part of this space and for listening to today's episode of Beauty Talk Confessions. I wanted to take a moment and recognize our amazing sponsors, Prickly Bear, a desert-curated post-hair removal skincare line with pre- and post-care products created to support healthy skin beyond the treatment room, launching this summer. If this conversation resonated with you, make sure to follow the show and share it with someone in the beauty industry. Staying connected is how we grow, learn, and support each other. You can also follow us on Instagram at Beauty Talk Confessions and Prickly Bear for updates, behind the scenes, and more conversations like this. And if you have a moment, leaving a review helps this podcast reach more people who need this conversation too, and it would mean the world to me. This is Beauty Talk Confessions, and I'll see you next week.